The draw for the 2022 FIFA World Cup has concluded. And the good news is for Scotland, we got a bit of a piss-easy group. Group B, England, Iran and USA. It would have been hard to pick an easier group than that. But the bad news is, we're not actually in the World Cup yet. We've still got 2 games left to win before we make it to the World Cup in November. Welcome back, guys, to Son of Scotland TV. Just got done watching the FIFA World Cup. I watched the full thing, kind of regretting it now. It's like an hour and a half of my life that I'm just not going to get back. All the build-up, you know, all the anticipation, and really there's about 15 minutes of stuff worth watching. The whole presentation is boring. They take you down history lane. No one wants to see that. We know the history. Then they explain the rules, and then all the pot 1 teams get drawn out, and it makes fucking no difference whether someone goes in Group B or someone goes in Group H, or, you know, it's not really exciting. And then you just, until you get to like the last couple, it doesn't really matter. But what does matter is, guys, we've been drawn in Group B with England, Iran and the USA. Now, I think the way they do the World Cups is a bit of a mess. There were several teams that should have went into Group B, but they couldn't go into Group B because there was a possibility that they'd be taking on a team from the same confederation. So a few teams got moved around. Then eventually, I was looking at it, and I'm thinking, okay, European playoff. I looked at Group D, because Group C was already taken by the Saudis, and Group A was already taken. I'm looking at the rest of the groups and I'm thinking, we're going to get England here. I knew for a fact we were going to get England, because I was looking at the groups and I'm thinking, we can't go into Group D because there's 2 European teams in there. We can't go into Group E because there's 2 European teams in there. Same for Group F. So the only, in Group G, so the only other group we could have went into was Group H. So I knew, like, with 6 balls still to be drawn, you know, there was a 50-50 chance of us either getting into Group B or getting into Group H. And then we ended up getting drawn into Group B. And you know what? I was looking at this group and I was going, you know, that is a typical England group. It's an easy group. It is a group that, you know, England probably would have handpicked themselves, if I'm being honest. So, now that Scotland are potentially going into this group, I'm not going to change my way of thinking. I'm not going to change my opinion. Initially, before the last set of balls were drawn, I was saying Group E was a piss-easy group for England. And I'm not going to change my mind, guys. This is an easy group, and this is a group that Scotland should be getting out of 100%, man. If we cannot get out of this group, then we don't deserve to be at the World Cup. And that's no disrespect to Iran. Actually, disrespect to Iran. Fuck Iran. That's no disrespect to the Americans, though. The USA. I mean, the USA are a solid team. But you would take this group every day of the week. You would, if you're a Scotland fan and you were offered this group at the start, you cannot say that you wouldn't have taken this group. 100% you would have taken this group. Like I said, USA are okay, but I mean, look at these other groups. Come on. I mean, look at some of the second seeded teams in these groups. You would have took USA over, you know, Germany, over Holland and shit like that. The other teams from pot 2. There's no doubt in my mind that you would have done that. So I don't think we can complain. But before we get to these games, guys, we have to beat Wales and we have to beat Ukraine. Whether the Ukraine game happens or not, I don't know. I think it's all one big mess. I think Ukraine should just forfeit personally and let us play Wales. Winner takes all, and let us know who's getting to this World Cup. It's an absolute joke how we still don't know. You know, it's unbelievable. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this Group B. And it means that Scotland will play England in the last game. Now that's what it means. Since England were drawn in B1, we're drawn in B4. That means that B1 and B4 is the last fixture of that group. So, it could very well be a shootout between England and Scotland going into the last game of Group B. I mean, don't get me wrong, we could fucking flop, it could be a failure, maybe we could go into the last game against England and we're already mathematically out. That would be shambolic, that would be embarrassing, but it's possible. We could go into Group B with the opportunity to not only, you know, get ourselves through to the next round, but we could knock England out of the World Cup. Worst case scenario, England could knock us out of the World Cup. So, I mean, there's loads of different scenarios, there's loads of different outcomes and options, but I'm really looking forward to the World Cup now. But the main thing is, guys, we get there. I mean, obviously, you want to get to the World Cup. You don't need any more motivation than that. But if it's possible to get more motivated, doesn't this do it for Scottish fans, Scottish players, the Scotland team? Not only do we have a very favourable group, but we have a group against our fucking arch rivals, England. So if that doesn't give us the motivation to fucking kick Ukrainian and Welsh ass, then I don't know what will, guys. But Group B is England, Iran, USA, and hopefully Scotland, possibly Wales or Ukraine. I'm going to quickly now go through the rest of the groups, give my thoughts and opinions. I'm not going to give my predictions just yet set in stone. I'll probably mention who I think is going to win each group, but I'll probably do predictions closer to the World Cup, because a lot can change between now and, November. So Group A, Qatar, obviously going into that, being the host nation. It's pretty much the team from pot 1 that everybody wanted. Ecuador and Senegal must think they have a really, really good chance now of joining the Netherlands going in through for Group A. So, I expect Holland to top that group, but Ecuador and Senegal, well, they'll be delighted with that. They'll think that they've got a really good chance. They'll be thinking that all they have to do is beat the other. Ecuador will think they beat Senegal, they're through. Senegal will probably think the same thing. And you know what? Holland aren't that great, so they're probably thinking they've even got a chance of beating Holland, but it's that group there. It's a great chance for either one of them to get through. Group B, we've already discussed Group B. Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico and Poland. Again, pretty difficult group between Mexico and Poland. Argentina are good, but we have seen them fail at World Cups before. I think they'll probably go to that group. I would have to say maybe Argentina and Poland. It really all depends on Lewandowski, in my opinion. If Lewandowski turns up, then Poland can win that group. If Lewandowski doesn't turn up, then Poland could easily, finish third and get knocked out in that group. So in my opinion, it's all about Lewandowski. Then we get to Group D. I wasn't really listening, so I'm not too sure which one the IC playoff is. I don't know if it's the one with Australia in it, or I don't know if it's the other one. But anyway, they're going to have a pretty difficult group. France and Denmark, I expect to top that. Tunisia are decent, but I just think France and Denmark will go through from that one. Group E, feel a bit bad here for Japan. They're getting Spain and Germany, two European giants. I would be pretty shocked if Spain and Germany don't go through. The only thing is, at least we knew we couldn't go into that group due to the fact you can only have two European teams. Because I was looking at Group E and I was thinking, fuck, could you imagine if that group was still available for us? You do not want that group. Thankfully, we didn't get it. I expect Spain and Germany to go through from that. Group F, Belgium, Canada, Morocco and Croatia. I've always had a soft spot for Croatia, so I kind of hope they get out of that. Canada have apparently been playing some really good stuff over the past couple of years, so kind of interested to see how they get on. Morocco, not bad at all, and obviously we know what Belgium will do. This will be a pretty interesting group, I think. I expect Belgium to go through with Croatia in second, or maybe the other way about, but I wouldn't discount Morocco and Canada straight away. I think they've got an outside chance, but yeah, definitely Belgium and Croatia are the two most likely to go through from Group F. Group G now, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland and Cameroon. Again, it's a group where I think you'd expect Brazil to top the group, and really it's hard to pick between the other three. There is not much between Serbia, Switzerland and Cameroon. There really isn't, so that could go either way in my opinion. I'd pretty much say that all three of them's pretty much got a 33.33% chance of winning, because that's how close I think those three teams are probably rated. And last but not least, Group H, Portugal, Guyana, Uruguay, and South Korea. I've been watching a lot of K-pop dramas lately, so you know what? I fucking hope Korea go through. I'm going to be cheering South Korea in this group. It's going to be difficult though, because we all know Portugal are good. We all know Uruguay are good. Ghana, are a decent African side. So it's going to be hard for, South Korea, Korea Republic, whatever you want to call them. But I'm hoping that they go through, guys. But I just cannot believe Group B. England, Iran, USA, and hopefully Scotland. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a much easier group, and I wanted England, so to get England and two very, very beatable teams is phenomenal. in my opinion. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing about this, guys. Let me know down below in the comments what's your thoughts on the World Cup draw. Do you think we've got a good chance of going through? Do you think we'll even get there? I mean, it all depends on what we do against Ukraine and Wales. But let me know, guys, in the comments, what did you think of the draw? Who's your favourite to win it? Do you think we'll go to Group B? And if you don't think we'll go to Group B, do you think we'll even make it there? And if we don't make it there, do you think, if Wales make it there, do you fancy Wales' chances of getting out of this? Because I would say, yeah. I mean, I would say regardless of where, I think even if Ukraine got through this Euro playoff, I would fancy Ukraine to come second in that group. I just think Ukraine are better than USA and Iran. So I think it's a good chance for, you know, any of the three teams in this European playoff to potentially make it to the knockout stages of the World Cup. Let me know, guys, what you think down below. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you leave a comment, share this video if you can, and I'll catch you later, guys, in the next one. But until then, peace.